If there's one area of our lives I know we can never ignore, it's our finances. Most people make costly mistakes during their younger years, mistakes that sometimes cost them for life. I made so many financial mistakes in my 20s, and in this video, I'll show you 5 of these mistakes and what you must do now to fix them, or else you'll regret it when you're older. 1. Feasting on too many loans. One thing I've noticed with so many folks nowadays is their love for loans. Most people just can't help themselves. They want a new house, a loan. They want a car, a loan. They want to buy groceries, and it's their credit card. The list goes on. And so before these sets of people know it, they've accumulated thousands of dollars in debt on their credit cards and the bank balance sheets. You see, loans can be a sweet advantage in the meantime, but they can bring so much pain in your later years when the debts start accumulating. By then, you must keep working to pay off your debts, so you'll never get to enjoy your hard-earned money anymore. Sadly, I realize most young people have no idea what it feels like to be in this position until they're much older and find themselves in this hot mess. Students, especially those who take student loans, never seem to realize the risks involved. It's only later on when they start working that they wish they'd never taken the loans in the first place. To make matters worse, some folks don't spend wisely, even on borrowed money. They forget that at the end of the day, they'll still have to pay for every dime and the interest accumulated. My advice is to take loans only as a last resort. Don't be too hasty to buy or spend on credit. It's an addictive habit. Instead, learn to save up and buy things you want. If you want a car, save up and get it when the money is complete. And then, even if you take loans, be smart about it. Don't overspend just because the money is available for you. Remember, it's not free money. 2. Spending above your means. I've realized that one thing that drives people to take loans they can never repay is the habit of spending above their earnings. You see, naturally there's a basic desire in all of us to do well, to impress others, and to have others not look down on us. But you see, if you let this desire drive you, you'll make many poor financial decisions. Never spend above your earnings. Spend below your earnings. This is one financial secret the rich know and apply, but the poor do not. Rich folks who earn, for instance, $10 million a month would live in their own home, meaning no rent bills, and rarely spend their cash on expensive clothes and cars. I mean, just look at our today's billionaires. The likes of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg. You seldom see these men in luxurious cars or fancy clothes and watches. Sometimes they seem to wear just one shirt all the time. These guys would rather invest their money into new business ideas to make even more money than try to give the public the impression that they're rich. But, you see, most of us have the opposite mindset, which is why we find ourselves in poverty and debt. If you are obsessed with keeping up with appearances, you'll constantly have to spend above what you earn to make people believe you're rich. Eventually, it'll all come down to you. Here's a tip I'll give you, something I wish I had known in my 20s. Don't compare yourself to your mates and don't try too hard to impress others. Focus on growing your wealth to the best of your ability. 3. Forsaking the power of investment. One line separates the rich from the poor, the investment mindset. You see, rich people spend only a small part of the money they earn on themselves, and even when they do, it's seldom for fancy things. For instance, after receiving his income, a millionaire businessman would save or invest and then spend what is left. But a common office worker, upon receiving his salary, would first treat himself to some good food and drinks, party, buy some expensive stuff he doesn't need, and then sit down thinking of how he's going to cope until the next payday. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. If you keep trading time for money, you'll never have enough money. It's called a rat race. The best way to get out of the rat race is by making your money work for you. In other words, investing. But you see, few people have the mind to risk putting their money into a business or the stock market. They'd rather play it safe and put it in a bank. Those bank savings would only get you through the rainy day. It can never make you financially free. I became financially free when I broke out of the saving and spending mindset and started seeking ways to grow my money while working to earn more. And if you are watching this now, I bet you're thinking of how you can join the world of investors. Well, there are many ways to do so. Let's hear it from the greatest investor of our time, Warren Buffett himself.
If you think about it, there are three major categories of investment. Now, the first category is anything denominated in a currency. It can be bonds, it can be deposits in a bank, it can be a money market fund, it can be cash in your pocket. Any currency-related investment is a bet on how government now and in the future will behave. The second category of investments regard items that you buy that don't produce anything, but that you hope someone will pay you more for later on. The classic case of that is gold. The third category of asset is something that you value based on what it will produce, what it will deliver. You buy a farm because you expect a certain amount of corn or soybeans or cotton or whatever it may be to come your way every year. And you decide how much you pay based on how much you think the asset itself will deliver over time. And those are the assets that appeal to me and Charlie. Now, people like to get in on things that have been rising in price and all of that, but over time, that has not been the way to get rich.
So you see, you can invest in stocks or assets like gold and cryptocurrency or businesses. But note that the number one rule of investment is to have a diversified portfolio. Warren Buffett has a diversified portfolio: stocks, real estate, assets, businesses, and more. This has been the key factor in his $114 billion net worth. Another vital key I must mention is that you must think long-term. Don't be in a rush to cash out from your investments. Don't invest in stocks today and then sell your holdings next week in a panic when the trend goes down. Remember that true wealth takes time to grow, so be patient and let your money grow. Don't make this mistake. I see a lot of people making nowadays. Save little, invest more, and you'll thank yourself later in the future. 4. Not planning for the future. A popular saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This is very true, especially when it comes to finances. I can bet you that it doesn't matter how fat your paycheck is. If you don't budget and spend it wisely, you'll most likely go broke or end up borrowing. One solid rule I've used over the years is to divide any income that comes my way into 4 parts. 1 for savings, 1 for investment, 1 for my needs, and 1 for my wants. The amount you keep aside for each purpose will depend on how much you earn and which purpose you prioritize. For instance, most people save 20%, invest 20%, and then use the remaining 60% for their wants and needs. If you can follow this financial rule, you'll get richer and accumulate massive wealth as the years go by. Another way to plan is to invest in yourself. I can always tell someone who will be successful and great by how they spend their time, especially in their 20s. Nowadays, most people don't plan how they spend their time. If you spend too much time watching movies, partying, playing games, or engaging in unproductive activities, you're already on your way to a doomed financial future. Here's a tip from someone we know too well, Bill Gates.
I do think your habits are sort of set in your 20s and 30s. And by my standards of the 20s, I didn't believe in weekends back then, not to mention vacations. So I'm, fairly lazy compared to myself in my 20s, where I was a true fanatic. All I believed in was working on software night and day, and for my 20s that was perfect. I didn't have a wife or family at all, and my role was very hands-on role.
Bill Gates' billions didn't just pop out of nowhere. It came from the passion and habits he developed in his 20s. If he was a partygoer like any normal 20-year-old, I bet he wouldn't be the Bill Gates we know today. So, in other words, spend your time wisely and focus on personal development. Read financial books, watch educational content, learn new skills, and try new things. You never know what rewards can come out of it. The best investment you could ever make is investing in yourself. If you've enjoyed this video so far, take a minute to like and subscribe. It'll go a long way to help us create more valuable content like this. 5. Focusing on only one income stream. I never became financially free until I began to make money from more than 3 sources. And this is something I've noticed with rich people all over the world. They always have more than one source of income. Not many people are smart enough to realize this secret and utilize it to fight out of debt or financial crisis. And also, some who realize this try to approach it the wrong way. Having more than one income stream doesn't mean working 2 jobs or night shifts. Rather, it means having a side business or asset that brings you money without requiring much of your input or effort. In other words, I'm referring to passive income. The best favor you can do yourself right now is to start building a business or investing in something that can pay you even while you're sleeping. Some good sources of passive income you can try include selling ebooks, stocks, rental income, bonds, blogging, setting up a local business, and affiliate marketing. I notice that most young people don't think in this direction, even most elderly folks. Young people believe they'll get a dream job that'll make everything pan out. I thought so too back then. And the older folks put all their hope on the retirement plan. Unfortunately, most times, it doesn't end up as planned, and they only end up regretting it all much later. It's best to start building passive wealth early. That's all for this video. Click on any of the thumbnails on your screen to watch other valuable content right away. See you in the next one.